বিহারি গোপী জন বল্ল গিরিবর গোপী জন বল্ল গিরিবর ধারি যশোদানন্দ ব্রজজন রঞ্জন যশোদানন্দ ব্রজজন রঞ্জন যমুনা তীর অনুচারী যমুনা তীর অনুচারী জয় রায় মাধব কুঞ্জ বিহারী জয় রায় মাধব কুঞ্জ বিহারী হরে কৃষ্ণ 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 হরে 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 রাম 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 হরে 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 কৃষ্ণ 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 হরে 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 রাম 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 হরে 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 কৃষ্ণ 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 হরে 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 রাম 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 হরে হরে জয় রাধা গিরিধারী রাধা গিরিধারী রাধে জয় জগন্নাথ জয় জগন্নাথ জয় বলদেব জয় সুভদ্রা জয় গৌরনিতাই গৌরনিতাই জয় 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 প্রভুপাদ জয় জয় প্রভুপাদ নিতাই গৌর হরি 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 Hare Krishna, everybody. As usual, today we'll first read from Srila Prabhupada Lilamrita, and after that we'll recite and discuss shlokas from Srimad Bhagavatam. So for that I am sharing my screen for reading the Lilamrita. So everybody can see the screen now?
Yes, Prabhu.
Thank you. Srila Prabhupada noted that the Americans were also giving a good reception to Indian art and music. Just to see the mode of reception, he attended the performance of Madrasi dancer Bala Saraswati. I went to see the dance with a friend. Although for last 40 years I have never attended such dance ceremonies, the dancer was successful in her demonstration. The music was in Indian classical tune, mostly in Sanskrit language, and the American public appreciated them. So I was encouraged to see the favorable circumstances about my future preaching work. He said Bhagavatam could also be preached through music and dance, but he had no means to introduce it. The Christian missions, backed by huge resources, were preaching all over the world, so why couldn't the devotees of Krishna combine to preach the Bhagavatam all over the world? He also noted that the Christian missions had been effective in checking the spread of communism, whereas the Bhagavatam movement could be because of philosophical and scientific approach. He was deliberately planting a seed of inspiration in the mind of devotees. Wealthy Sumoti Muraj. Hare Krishna. So today we'll read from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 24, verse 21. The heading of this canto is the creation of the fourth order, and the heading of this chapter, chanting of the song by Lord Shiva. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayana Namaskritya Naranchaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudirayet Srinnatam Shakata Krishna Punna Savana Kirtana Hridiyantasto Hi Yavadrani Vidhunoti Shurit Nashto Praesho Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Sloke Bhakti Bhagavati Nashtiki. So I'm sharing the screen first. And Nila Raktotpalambojo Allarendi Varakaram Hamsho Sarasha Chakrava Karandravoni Pujitam Nila Raktotpalambojo Allarendi Varakaram Hamsho Sarasha Chakrava Karandravoni Pujitam Nila Raktotpalambojo Kallarendi Varakaram Hamsho Sarasha Chakrava Karandravoni Pujitam. If anybody wants to recite, please.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam.
Nila Rakta Utpalam Bhaja Kalara Bindra Akaram Amsha Sharasha Chakrava Parandava Nikunjitam. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. নীল রক্তোৎপলাম্বুজ কল্লারেন্দি বরাকরম হংস সারস চক্রাও কারণ্ডব নিকুঞ্জিতম. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Pranam. I am also trying.
Hare Krishna, Mataji, please continue.
Nila rakta palambhoj khallarena divarakaram hamsa sharasa chakrava karandava nikujitam. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Anybody else? So can someone please read the synonyms, please?
Yes, Prabhu, I can try.
Yes,
Nila, blue, Rakta, red, Utpala, lotus, Ambhaja, born from the water, Khallaro, another kind of lotus, Indivara, another kind of lotus, Akaram, the mind, Hamsa, swans, Sarasa, cranes, Chakrava birds, Karandava birds, Nikujitam, vibrated by their sounds. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. And can anyone else please read the translation, please?
I'll try, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. In that lake, there were different types of lotus flowers. Some of them were bluish and some of them were red. Some of them grew at night, some in the day, and some like the Indivara, lotus flower, in the evening. Combined together, the lotus flowers filled the lake so full that the lake appeared to be a great mine of such flowers. Consequently, on the shores, there were swans and cranes, chakravakas, karandavas, and other beautiful water birds standing above. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu. And can anyone please read the path, please?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The word Akaram, the mind, is significant in this verse. For the reservoir of water appeared like a mine from which different types of lotus flowers were produced. Some of the lotus flowers grew during the day, some at night, and some in the evening. Accordingly, they had different names and different colors. All these flowers were present on that lake. And because the lake was so calm and quiet and filled with lotus flowers, superior birds like swans, chakravas, Karandavas stood on the shores and vibrated their different songs, making the entire scene attractive and beautiful. As there are different types of human beings, according to the association of the three qualities of material nature, there are similarly different types of birds, bees, trees, etc. Everything is divided according to the three qualities of material nature. Birds like swan, cranes who enjoy clear waters and lotus flowers are different from crows who enjoy filthy places. Similarly, there are persons who are controlled by the modes of ignorance, passion, and those who are controlled by the mode of goodness. The creation is so varied that there are always varieties found in every society. Thus, on the bank of this lake, all the superior birds live to enjoy that atmosphere created by that great reservoir filled with lotus flower. Hare Krishna.
Okay, thank you, Prabhuji, for nicely reading out the purport. So, Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namo Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Shayam Rupa Padamayam Dadati Padam Pupam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuta Padakamalam Sri Guru Vaishnavancha Sri Rupam Sagurajatam Sahavana Raghunathannitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sabadhutam Purijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahavana Lalita Sri Vishakamitamsya He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinavandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanto Radha Kanto Stute Tapta Kanchana Gauram Viradhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishavanu Sute Devi Pramami Bharipriye Mancha Kalpatarubhascha Kripa Sindhu Vacha Patitanam Papunebhyo Vaishnavabhyo Namo Namo Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasadi Gaur Bhakta Binda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Krishna, Padanagami Sri Shubha Shameshwar, Vinna Shri Shubha Gaya Sarva Jiva Kripatraya Guru Shiksha Sadachara Palo Namaste. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Krishna, Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namini. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Vishesha Shanyavadi Paschatadesha Tarini Namo Mahabhadanaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gaurutishe Namo Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pungam Langayati Girim Yat Kripatamaham Vande Paramananda Madhavam Sri Guru Dina Taran. Hare Krishna everybody. Welcome everybody to this morning class of Srimad Bhagavatam. Although I am not qualified, but I am doing the service as I have been instructed to undertake the service, and it is an opportunity for me to purify myself. So I beg you all, for all the devotees, for your mercy to please bless me so that I can properly glorify Supreme Lord Sri Krishna. Now a brief description of the background. When the Prachetas, or all the 10 sons of Prachin Buhi, very seriously accepted the words of their father with heart and soul, and keeping these words in their heads, they went towards the west to execute the father's order, and they are doing that. And while traveling, they saw this great reservoir of water, and it has been said that this lake seemed almost as big as the ocean. In the previous verse, we have known about the different aquatics living there peacefully, and that has been told yesterday. And yesterday, and in the present verse, in this present particular verse, we find the description of different varieties of lotus flowers that have grown on this lake, and the birds residing on its shore, on the shores of this lake. Now, in the description of the beautiful lake, it is stated that although it is a very big, like an ocean, but the water is very calm and quiet. And it is also like a mine full of different varieties of lotus flowers. We know that lotus flowers looks very beautiful, and it is a symbol of transcendental purity. Lotus has many beautiful names in Sanskrit, and they have these beautiful names are used in all our transcendental literatures, even in many of our prayers. For example, Kamal is one of them. Kamal, Utpal, Padma, Rajiv, Ambuja, Pankaja, Neeraja, Nolini, Aurobindo. These are some of the examples I have given. Maybe there may be others also. Similarly, and in fact, we have seen that Lord Vishnu, in his four-handed forms, one of the hands he is holding lotus. And every day, in the morning when we start our Mangalarati, and then when we pray for the Guru Vandana or Guru Mantra, and it has also got a mention of lotus, like Bande Guru Sri Charana Aravinda. Charan and Aravinda together becomes Charana Aravinda. So we also mention that in our, and similarly in the prayers of Lord Narasimha, we pray Tava Karo Kamala Bori, and it also refers to lotus, and Koro means hand, and Kamal is compared with hand with the lotus. And in the prayer of Kunti Maharani, similarly, when he was praying to the Lord Krishna, glorifying the Lord, he was describing the beauty of the different parts of his transcendental body. Krishna's body is transcendental, and this transcendentality is expressed with lotus. And in verse Srimad Bhagavatam 1.882, he says, Namo Pankaja Nabhayo, Namo Pankaja Malini, Namo Pankaja Netrayo, Namaste Pankajambhari. So in every part, describing every part of his transcendental body, he was describing the lotus or Pankaja. Pankaja is another name, as we have told earlier. So in this way, it has been used in our various transcendental literatures and prayers. And also in the purport, Prabhupada said, the word akarama, the mine, is significant in this verse. Because, why? Because the reservoir of water appeared like a mine, and from different types of lotus flowers were produced on that. And description of different varieties of lotus is also given. And also, not only that, their characteristics. Some of them were bluish in color, and some of them were red. Nilo and Rakta, these were mentioned. So Nilo means blue, and Rakta here is being red. And similarly, they are growing at different times of the. Normally they go in the night, and in the morning they are visible, but they bloom in the morning. But here there are different varieties of flowers that there. It is told that some grow during the day, some at night, and some indigo flower. Indigo, one variety of lotus flower, indigo is being told, and it grows in the evening, and it blooms in the evening. And similarly, different other flowers also growing at different point of time. So all these flowers present in the lake in huge numbers. So it is as good as a big mine, as from mine you can have enormous deposit of ores. Similarly, here so many flowers, lotus flowers are available from this lake. So it is being called a mine of lotus flower. And so the lake with its beautiful, calm and quiet water and the pool of lotus flowers is definitely pure and transcendent. Description from it is a beautiful place. So, and one thing I'm just for the time being for you, I'm considering that if you think yourself just before on the shore of this lake, so may I ask you, what will be your feelings at the time? A quiet lake full of lotus flowers of different varieties, and the birds, and on the shore there are different types of birds, like Karan Devas, who also likes this transparent and transparent weather, transparent water. And what would be your feelings? Any of the devotees can please tell.
So peaceful, we can sit down and chant for a while.
Thank you. And any others? Any others?
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Just
Hare-
now read from this Prabhupada Lilamrita, the word, when Prabhupada went to see that classical dance program, the sentence is written, so I was encouraged to see the favorable circumstances about my future preaching work. So that is the surroundings made up of. So those the favorable circumstances.
Thank you. In other words, depending on our one thing, it comes to my mind that normally when a devotee was there, because of his bent of his mind and purity of the mind, he will come in his mind. I think in his mind the idea of Krishna will immediately come to his mind. The Lord has created this beautiful place, and that is my feeling, of course. And in fact, whenever we see a beautiful things, such a beautiful things, and we the weather, the surroundings together is beautiful and it's pure, then we think whoever has got it. The three modes naturally in material world, there are three modes material. Those who are in the mode of goodness, they immediately think of the Lord. The Lord has created this place such a beautiful way, so it reminds the Lord. So, and when we know that in a creation, the Lord is told that that His creation, this material world, is a manifestation of His external energy.
Yes.
And within this material world, of course, there are two energies persistent. One is the separated external energy, and the other is living beings. So in Bhagavad Gita chapter 7 and verse 7.4, it says, Bhumi Rapoanalobai. These are the non-living things. These are gross things. And similarly, subtle things are mind, monobuddhi, and ahankar. These three things also subtle things. But these are dull matters. But for that, to make it active, the Lord says in next verse, there is a superior energy which activates this, and who makes use of these material things. And whenever there is a creation, it is an interaction of the spiritual and the material things that makes the things that makes the creation possible. And similarly, and finally, at the end of that, there is the Lord who has created everything. In other words, whenever there is a creation, it is an interaction of spiritual energy and material energy, and behind them is the Supreme Lord. That is the beauty of the creation. Any spirit without the spirit, the basic field of creation, matter is not. The matter cannot by itself create it. Only by the touch of the spirit, the matter gets transformed. And of course, some of the scientists nowadays believe that the earth was this creation or the living beings was created by the chemical reaction. But Prabhupada has in ample number of cases, and we the devotees have rejected it, because Prabhupada has clearly explained that life comes from life, and without life, life cannot come. And ultimately, it is the Lord's touch that created it. And when the Lord looked at the cosmic manifestation, glanced at it, only the spirituality was impregnated on it. It was created. Therefore, spirit and matter, which combine to manifest the gigantic universal form, are originally the two energies of the Lord. And consequently, know that Lord is the original cause of everything. Without the Lord, nothing is created. So even this beautiful lake and the birds and everything, they were created by the energies of the Supreme Lord. And who know and this is a transcendental knowledge that Lord has created this material world, and he is the controller of the things. One who knows that he is knower of this, now the spiritual, the transcendental knowledge of the spiritual knowledge. When a living entity and in this material nature cultivate this spiritual knowledge, he can gradually elevate to the 3 stages. And these 3 stages, the first is the Brahman stage, conception of the material Brahman. He elevates himself to the Brahman conception of life in the first stage of realization. And at this stage, Brahman stage of position, he is free from the material from his material position. And actually, but this knowledge, what he has acquired, the absolute knowledge of the Lord about the Brahman conception, is only the beginning. And if he wants, he can stay to this Brahman position. Otherwise, he gradually rise to the Paramatma realization, and then the realization of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Unless one goes to the Supreme Personality of Godhead conception, his knowledge is imperfect. Or in other words, he is only knowing the spirit, his spiritual knowledge is incomplete without that. But one who has come to the stage of the Supreme Lord, or Bhagavan stage, he knows the others 2 stages also. In Srimad Bhagavatam 1 to 11, here 1 to 11, it is mentioned that although the Supreme Padanti tattvavidos tattam yajgana madhyam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavaniti shabdate. So it is not that the Supreme Personality is, it is three persons. It is only one person, but these are the different stages of realization of the person. Is Brahman stage is the lowest, and Paramatma is the middle, and the highest is the personal form of the Lord, which is God, Bhagavan form. And what is now the question is, what is this transcendental knowledge becomes perfect when one knows that, as I've told you. And now the question is, what is the knowledge of the common person about the Supreme Lord? When the knowledge of the common man is always in the mode of a darkness. On the 3 modes, we have got 3 modes, Sattva, Raja, and Tamo. In other words, Sattva, Raja, and Tamo. And those, Tamo is the lowest stage, or the mode of darkness, the ignorance. Because normally the common people are in the mode of darkness, because everybody in this conditioned life is born in the mode of ignorance. If we do not develop our knowledge, spiritual knowledge, through the authorities and scriptural injunctions, our knowledge is bound to be limited. And that knowledge is always restricted on the body, on the bodily level. In the current days, most of the people are concerned about acting in terms of their, without studying the direction of the scripture, so their knowledge is mostly in the mode of darkness. And such knowledge means they are only on the bodily conception of life, and the bodily, and for them the knowledge means satisfaction of the bodily demands, and money is everything. And for some, such knowledge is, Prabhupada has told, it is no better than an animal life. And the animal has got 4 things. And similarly, they are not beyond this 4th. That is eating, sleeping, defending, and mating. Such knowledge is the lowest level. But there are other people who are so-called educated people, producing, so they are making so many theories and doctrines by the end of their mundane logics and material speculation. They are mostly in the mode of passion. Unfortunately, they also do not know, they do not have knowledge beyond their bodily conception. Whatever they are doing, they are imagining, they are at best of their mental level, but they are not in the knowledge about the spirit beyond their body. And it is, in other words, they are not in transcendental knowledge. Those in the mode of goodness, only those people, they think about themselves as, they can think themselves in the right perspective, and they can understand that the body, the identity of an individual is beyond this material body. And in fact, whenever we see that any beautiful, they can also understand the Lord has created everything. All the beautiful things in this, whatever we see in the surroundings is created by the Lord. And in fact, in Bhagavad Gita, I think, 1041, 1041, yes. Jad jad vibhuti mat sattam simad urjitam evava tad tadevava avavachatam mamo tejamsa sambhavam. That means any glorious or beautiful existence should be understood to be but a fragmental manifestation of Krishna's opulence. And whether it is spiritual or material world, anything extraordinary is considered to be Krishna's opulence. Now, we know for certain that all this creation in this material world, all these beautiful things, although we see in this material world, they're very beautiful, but and in any, whether it is in this earthly planet or any other higher planets, they are all subject to destruction with time. And Bhagavad Gita, and Sri Krishna has told in Arjuna in Bhagavad Gita that they Dukkhala 8:15, that Dukkhala, this is not a place of eternal happiness. It is a place of misery and temporary, and it is a temporary life, and the misery is also there. But there is another world where there cannot be in comparison with this material world. That is the eternal world of the Lord, where the Lord stays, and like Him, the Lord is eternal, so His abode is also eternal. That is called transcendental world. And in the transcendental world, or the abode of the Lord, Vaikuntha, the kingdom of God, and this kingdom is beyond our material vision, and is the highest goal or destination of Mahatmas of the great soul. As in Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna was told by Lord Krishna. And the description of this eternal home of the Lord is given in Bhagavad Gita, it is given, in Brahma Samhita it is given, in Srimad Bhagavatam it is given. I will briefly try to describe some of the places where it is described. So in Bhagavad Gita in 15.6, it is stated, Na tat bhashayate shurya, na shashanko na pavuka, yadgatta na nivardhante, tadhama paramam. It is said that in that abode, of this transcendental abode, it is unlike this material abode, where without sun and moon, there is no light, because they are basically dark. But in that spiritual world of the creation of the Lord, it is illuminated by sun and moon, and not by fire and electricity. Those who reach there will never return to this material world again. So that is the beauty of that world, that whoever goes there, he lives there eternally, and he will never have to come back to this world of this material world, which is a place of dukkhala and shashwata. Although it is temporary, and it is also full of misery, that one is always eternal and always beautiful. And similarly, in Brahma Samhita 5:29 and 30 also somewhere, and there is a description of Vaikuntha planet. Chintamani prakarasatma sukalpa vriksha laksha bhritishu suraviro vipalayantam lakshmi sahasrashata samhrama shegyamanam govindam adipurusham tamaham yami. Say the supreme abode of the Lord Krishna, that is called Golok Vrindavan. It's full of palaces made of touchstone, Chintamani, and there are trees called desire trees, and that supply any type of eatable upon demand. And there are cows known as Suruvi cows. They supply a limitless amount of milk. In this abode, the Lord is served by hundreds and thousands of goddess of fortune, Lakshmis, and he is called Govinda. He is the primary Lord and cause of all causes. And if any plays his flute, his transcendental form is the most attractive, and his eyes, lotus, all these are given there. Now, in Katha Upanishad also, there is a description. It is told that there is nothing superior to the abode of the Supreme God. Just as the Lord is the most beautiful and no one excels Lord in any of his beauty or anything else, similarly, his abode is also the most beautiful, and there is nothing similar to or superior to that abode. That abode is the ultimate destination. And when one attains it, he never returns to this material world. And Krishna's supreme abode, and Krishna is non-different, being absolute there, it is non-different. And unlike the material, unlike this material world, the planets, the land, trees, fruits, flowers, and cows, everything is completely spiritual and personal. They can respond. They can respond with other people, with other entities there, and in this way, that is very beautiful place. Because it is free from material energy, they are not subject to destruction. And another thing is that each of them has got their own forms, as normally that is a problem with, of course, the Mayavadis. They think that because they think that Lord has got no forms, formlessness, they think that they cannot conceive of anything of these forms in the transcendental forms that is available in the Vaikuntha planet, because they think that form is only possible with material. Form is always material. But we find from these literatures, transcendental, from the transcendental literature, that they have got various forms. And in fact, in the Vaikuntha plan, another thing is that it is full of opulences. The bridges are going so nicely that it does not disturb others, but it's very nicely it is flowing. So it gives happiness to them, but they are not creating any problems. Wild wind is not there, so it is always helpful for the entities who are serving the Lord there without any obstacle. And the inhabitants of the Vaikuntha also gives preference to the service of the Lord and not to their own sense gratification. Serving the Lord is a transcendental love and gives them such pleasure in comparison to sense gratification as insignificant. And so sense gratification is considered insignificant by the inhabitants of the Vaikuntha Loka. And another question is that, another beautiful feature is that in the material world, the opulence is achieved by a materialistic person like us. In the Vaikuntha Loka, even the material world, in the materialistic person, we have to work hard to enjoy prosperity. And unless we work hard, we cannot achieve it. But the devotees of the Lord in the resident Vaikuntha planets have the opportunity to enjoy transcendental situation, and they can enjoy the jewels, emeralds, and made of gold bedecked with jewels are achieved, and not by working hard, but is by the benediction of the Lord. In other words, the Vaikuntha's world, even the material world, even the devotees of the Lord is also not poverty-stricken, as people sometimes think. Whatever is needed, the Lord supplies them according to their need. And similarly, the people, there is no competition among them, and each of one is trying to serve the Lord in their own capacity, and each one of them and other living entities help each other to serve the Lord better. And it is told that when the bumblebees, normally, there are beautiful birds like cuckoos and other things who can sing very well. But when a bumblebee also tries to serve the Lord by his sound, by sound vibration, the other bird stops it and allow the bumblebees to make his sound vibration, so that they can also hear it. The bumblebee also is capable of serve the Lord in his own way. So there is this evil competition that is often found in this materialistic world, and envy. All these things are totally absent in the spiritual world, in the Vaikuntha planet. And as we have told, that the impersonalists who cannot understand without about the beyond these material forms, and they do not understand the transcendental variegatedness of the variety of the spiritual world, they are the most losers, because they cannot enjoy these things. Only the devotees of the Lord, who are worshipping the Lord in his transcendental or in his Bhagavan form, they can only enjoy it. And in Srimad Bhagavatam, it is stressed that people who try and discuss and understand the real spiritual nature of the spiritual sky and the Vaikunthas are fortunate, because the Vaikuntha, there is so much variety in the Vaikuntha planet that what we see in this material world is only a perverted reflection of that spiritual world. So in this material world, as we have seen, so much beautiful things are available, we can see. So you just imagine what would be the reality in the spiritual world, which it is a perverted reflection. The material world is a perverted reflection. So the origin, and in its originality, there is so much variety and beauty is there that it is not comparable with this material world at all. And such knowledge of the spiritual sky and above this material sky and its paraphernalia can be known only by our devotional service or bhakti yoga. And Prabhupada has told, it is very much regrettable that unfortunate people do not discuss and describe about the description of the Vaikuntha planet. And one prefers, people are interested in using their time and energy by discussing about the different other issues, and like political issues and other things. And in this way, they deprive themselves of the beautiful things of the Lord and his beauty. And if they do that, they will be more happier. Now, coming to this about the condition of this lake. And if we look at the lake, we see that the water in this lake is very, as has been told in the purport, it's very pure and it is very calm and quiet. Similarly, it is also describing the mind of an advanced person in a spiritual advanced stage. His mind is very cool, and his mind is not affected by the material outflow of material winds, by the material that is blowing everywhere. And he is stable on that. In a similar way, just as it is given in Bhagavad Gita, is 270, I think. 270 is apuryamanamachala pratistham samudramapa bhavishyanti yadvat tadvat kamayam pravishyanti sarvesha shanti mapnati nakamukam. Just as in the sea is quite stable and it is not disturbed when the incessant flow of rivers go there. Similarly, all the incessant flow of the desire that comes to a materialistic person, a person in an advanced stage of spiritual stage is not affected by such material attractions. He remains steady in his connection with the Lord. And in this way, it is also mentioned that the birds, just as men have, human beings have got different stages, different modes. Similarly, the birds also, it is described that these birds likes the calm and peaceful weather, clear water, as against the crows, which often remains in filthy weather. Similarly, the birds also have got their category, and based on them, they also reside in the places where it is suitable for them. And so normally a person used to stay in a situation where all his where he finds a suitable environment according to his consciousness. And it is also, as some of you have told, that people, one who is on the shore of the lake, if he goes there and just sit there, it is a place for meditation as well. There's no doubt about that. But in our Krishna consciousness, it is not as much dependent on the external surroundings, because we try to connect our senses for the service of the Lord. All our senses, instead of controlling them, we control them by engaging in the service of the Lord. In this way, they get automatically controlled. And the attraction for material attachment is automatically controlled. When we engage our senses for the service of the Lord, the senses automatically get controlled and come to a situation where the attraction for the Lord is so increased that the attachment for the material things automatically ceases, or gradually start to ceasing. Prabhupada has given a nice description of a fan. When a fan is moving, if it is considered the fan is a symbol of material attachment, it is moving, it blows air, and in this way, different attachment or desire comes in our mind. But when we switch off the fan, for some time the fan may move, and the desire may remain with us for this material sense enjoyment, but gradually it will come down. If we engage our sense for the service of the Lord, and as given by our spiritual master, and also when we remain in association with the devotees, this attachment for material things will automatically gradually come down. And in this way, our attachment with the Supreme Lord will get fixed or stronger and stronger. But we have to switch off the fan. That means the attachment for material things, we have to abandon it. May not be as is possible in the initial stages, but gradually we have to do that. Otherwise, the sense enjoyment and devotional service cannot go side by, it cannot go very well parallelly. It can't go. One has to come down. One has to gradually get apart from each other, because these are two different things. But at a certain stage, it is possible. And the another thing that comes to my mind is about the place of the lake, which has given a very serene and very beautiful, calm and peaceful weather, peaceful situation. It is compared in our Krishna consciousness. It is a temple, like a temple. In our temple, it is a place of serenity, and we should take advantage. Just as someone who is in Ashtanga Yoga, they seek a very peaceful, and as the lake is one of the description, is such a place one can do is meditation on that. Similarly, for us, the temple is a very beautiful place, and it may be compared to this lake. If we take advantage of the Prabhupada has created, then we can advance our spiritual path and remain fixed in the determination to serve the Lord, free from material desire. And in this way, we can advance to our spiritual goal, and we will definitely reach that. That should be our aim. And gradually we can realize there is a material enjoyment and spiritual enjoyment. There is always a difference, and we should want to get rid of the other. We should get rid of the material enjoyment soon. And in this way, we can advance in the spiritual path. And the other thing in this regard, it comes to my mind, is in Bhagavad Gita in 5:22, it is told that an intelligent person doesn't take part in the source of misery. So because this material enjoyment, such pleasures for the sense enjoyment, has got a beginning and an end, and a wise man doesn't take delight in them. And a Krishna conscious person is not attracted by sense pleasures, which are the causes of continuous material existence. And the more one is addicted to such material pleasure, the more we get entrapped in the material miseries. The person who experiences Krishna consciousness is so absorbed in the study of our in the service of the Lord, that whole that he can make a difference between material enjoyment and spiritual enjoyment, and in this way he prefers the second one, that is spiritual enjoyment. And it is given in 521. The nature of the spiritual enjoyment is given. A liberated person is not attracted to material sense pleasure, but is always in trance, enjoying the pleasure within. In this way, the self-realized person enjoys unlimited happiness, or he concentrates on Supreme. And in fact, for a devotee, the Lord, his target is to see always Krishna in everything. As we have told, if we look at the lake or anything we see, we should immediately realize that Lord is behind everything. And in about the 6:30, there is the verse is clearly states like that. Yomam pashyati sarvatra sarvam cha mai pashyati tasyaham na pranashami shocho me na pranashati. That means a person, Krishna conscious person, certainly sees Lord in everything and everywhere, and he sees everything in Krishna. And when we see that, it appears to see that all separate manifestations of material nature, in a way or other, is connected to Krishna. And knowing that everything is a manifestation of Krishna, that is his knowledge, and that's why nothing exists without Krishna, and Krishna is the Lord of everything. And this is the best principle of Krishna consciousness. And in this way, when we find a beautiful situation like the lake or any other, it only reminds us about Krishna, who is the creator of everything, and who is within us and outside everywhere, and is directing us in every moment what would be our duty as a human being. And we can go back to his transcendental abode, as we have discussed earlier, with all its beauty. If we go there, then the attraction for this material beauty, whatever apparently beautiful it is, it has no comparison with the supreme abode of the Lord, where it is our final destination. And that would be our motto and target, always to reach there. And in this way, we can reach our goal. Hare Krishna, everybody. Thank you very much. And with that, I'm concluding. If anyone may want to make any comment or realization or any questions or any mistake I've committed, please free to point out, and I'm happy to hear from you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare
Such a
Krishna.
beautiful class. It's really inspiring to understand the nature's beauty as we see around in our life, but we don't understand what is the meaning behind it. And you so nicely explained through various examples and slokas to make it us understand the differences. And when these prachetas, 10 prachetas, they started moving towards west, they suddenly come to a place which is very, very attractive. And you described the description, and you described the lake in such a beautiful way. How this situation arises, as Prabhupada Lilamrita described, when Srila Prabhupada was attending one dance program, and by seeing the Americans were so much engrossed with the program, he immediately understood the impact of this, and then he decided this is actually favorable condition. So the Prachetas, when they come to this place near the lakes, they remind those sceneries, and they could understand the Lord, and they decided to be here in near future for their particular austerities. So that's why they are very much attracted. So this knowledge gives us to understand the Lord's creation and the motive behind it. So that's the difference between a material person and the transcendentalist. To understand the nature where the material person only understand their way. That means they look for only enjoyment, but they don't really uh, acknowledge the beauty of the Lord's creation. So this understanding distinguishes us from those kind of people, those who are in the mode of ignorance and passion over the goodness people. So it's a nice classification and a demonstration as you explain how that it reminds us about the temple. Yes, temple is such a place where everything we forget while we enter and stare at the deity of the Lord, and it cools down everything which we come along with up to the door of the temple, and everything goes away. So this situation always reminds us to be to understand that there is a different world which is need to be understood, and that is the goal of our life. Once we understand that notion, and then we are all free from material calamities. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, thank you, Project, for nicely explaining this. Thank you once again. Hare Krishna. Anyone else, please? Any other realization or any other comments, please?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavad Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji,
Thank you. Thank you very much. So, thank you very much for the nice references and your realizations regarding this verse, very descriptive verse, very beautiful descriptive verse. So, just one more thought, it came to mind that Krishna and Prabhupada also, he speaks a lot about the variety, and this variety both in the spiritual world as well in the material world. So I was thinking it's probably also it teaches us tolerance, because so much he is saying people based on the modes of nature, different, some persons mode of goodness, passion and ignorance, according to that they have their surroundings, their way of life. So I was thinking, does it also teach lot of tolerance of different ways of life, different types of people, different types of living entities? Just a thought. Yeah.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Very nice point you have pointed out. Yes, because of the variety also, we have to, there's so many things are there. So we should not be intolerant to that, because we should know that it is a creation of the God. And another thing is that because in this material world, everything is relative. Because the bad is there, the good, we can also appreciate what is good. And without had there been no bad, we could not have realized what is good, because it is a relative world in any way. So you have very nicely pointed out this point. And in fact, it is one of the qualities of a devotee, Titiksha Karunika. So Titiksha and Karunika. So he must be tolerant. That is the very first quality of a devotee, that he should tolerate whatever may be the situation. He knows that the Lord is behind it, and he tolerates it. And at some point of time, and he knows how to utilize them ultimately for this result. Hare Krishna. Anybody else?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, just to add on this, yesterday Prabhuji was talking about, how he was standing in the queue for BTNZ, and then the people surrounding him were so much disturbed because they are standing on the line and the queue for hours together. So they got frustrated because they have nothing to do except those standing on the line, smoking, talking, swearing. But Prabhu was there on the line, he was just chanting his holy name.
Yes, yes.
And that reminds that yes, the titiksha is very, very important. We need to be very tolerant and understand why this is happening. Unless we understand the impact of that, we are going to get disturbed. And that's a example just immediately come to my mind. Yes, so nice and very practical examples. We often see this and we often get affected by this. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Yes, we know, and our Guru Maharaj, Shri Goswami Maharaj says that the devotee is always able to unify things. He can find the varieties, but he knows how to utilize it for the service of the Lord. So, in spite of all many varieties, it is not a destruction for him. Rather, he tries to make use of that situation to the best of his to the best possible way, and that is one of the quality of a devotee, who is very tolerant and very compassionate to others as well, in spite of their so much difference with even if they are away from the transcendental qualities. He can accept them and tries to utilize them for the service of the Lord. Hare Krishna. Anyone else? So it appears there is no other person to.
Hare Krishna, just one comment.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Yeah. Prabhu, also in New Zealand, there's such a big reservoir water. If you go to like Lake Taupo, such a big lake looks like ocean, and also Lake Rotorua. And if you go to South Island, near Mount Cook, there are so many nice lakes, and the water is extremely crystal clear. You can see the sand at the bottom. You know, so it's very peaceful, but there are no lotuses. So I mean, Krishna is endowed with so many nice, beautiful things. But because there's no devotion, there are no flowers. It looks very, very remote and very calm. I mean, if you go to South Island, especially around around Mount Cook, beautiful scenery, beautiful lakes, crystal clear water, birds, but no flowers. So this had a bit of difference from material world and spiritual world. Where there's devotion, there's a lot of nice flowers growing. So maybe one day New Zealand might achieve this transcendental form with the devotees. We'll see. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhuji, for your nice realization.
Such a nice reference.
So it appears there is no other person to make any comments. So I'm concluding class now. Vancha
Kalpataruभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। जय अभय शरण प्रभु की जय। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। All glories to